You just received an engine repair estimate worth thousands of dollars and the mechanic says the damage is normal. But outside Pikeville, Kentucky, I found a truck still running with more than 500,000 miles on its original engine. An 82-year-old farmer showed me decades of maintenance records, and one low-cost farm product appeared beside nearly every oil change. What those records revealed may explain why some engines wear out early while others keep running for decades. The first time I drove into Johnson County, Kentucky, I was not looking for engine advice. I was researching old livestock fencing methods that local farming families had used long before modern farm supply stores existed. That trip was supposed to last a single afternoon. Instead, it turned into something I spent months investigating. A local resident pointed me toward a small farm outside Paintsville owned by Walter Grayson, an 82-year-old cattle farmer who had lived there most of his life. The moment I pulled into his driveway, something caught my attention. Parked beside a feed shed sat a 1979 Chevrolet C2 pickup. At first glance, it looked like any old farm truck. Faded paint, dented fenders, worn bench seat. But when Walter casually mentioned that the truck still carried its original engine, I assumed I had misheard him. Then he showed me the odometer records, more than 540,000 miles, no rebuild, no replacement engine, no major overhaul. Walter walked me into his workshop and pulled out an old coffee can filled with handwritten maintenance logs dating back decades. Oil changes, repairs, fuel records, every service entry carefully documented. And beside nearly every oil change was the same handwritten note, the same fluid, the same simple addition. That was the moment my curiosity took over, because what I found next made even less sense than the truck itself. Subscribe if you enjoy old records, practical knowledge, and the stories that modern life forgot. At first, I assumed Walter's truck was an exception. Every community has a story about the one vehicle that somehow refuses to quit. Maybe this was simply one of those stories, but the more questions I asked, the stranger things became. A few weeks later, while reviewing old agricultural publications, I noticed a brief reference to the same fluid Walter had written in his records. Then I found another mention in a farm cooperative newsletter from a different state. Then another in maintenance notes preserved by a county extension office. Different locations, different years, different people. The same recommendation kept appearing. What surprised me most was who was using it. Not professional mechanics, not engineers, not automotive companies, farmers, men whose livelihoods depended on equipment starting every morning regardless of weather, season, or financial hardship. For them, an engine failure was more than an inconvenience. A broken tractor or truck could delay planting, interrupt harvests, or cost an entire season's income. Those families approached maintenance differently. They were not looking for the newest product. They were looking for anything that could keep machinery running longer with fewer breakdowns. And somehow the same low-cost fluid kept appearing wherever I looked. The deeper I dug, the more often it surfaced. Then I found an old archive record that changed the entire direction of my research. And that is where this story becomes difficult to ignore. The more time I spent researching Walter's maintenance records, the more I noticed a difference between the way old farming families approached machinery and the way most people approach vehicles today. Modern maintenance often begins after a problem appears. A noise develops. Oil consumption increases. Performance starts to drop. Then comes the search for a product that promises to fix damage that has already happened. Meanwhile, many rural families followed a different philosophy. Protect equipment before wear becomes visible. Preserve machinery before expensive repairs become necessary. What surprised me was discovering that modern agricultural maintenance research still points in the same direction. Consistent preventive maintenance reduces downtime, lowers repair costs, and helps equipment remain productive longer. For men whose trucks hauled feed, livestock, and equipment every day, reliability mattered more than convenience. A breakdown during planting season could affect an entire year's work. That is why they paid attention to habits that extended service life rather than reacting after damage appeared. Stay with me, because what I discovered next may explain why some machines survive for decades while others wear out much sooner. And the answer starts with a farm supply product most drivers ignore. The fluid that kept appearing throughout my research was lanolin. Most people know lanolin as an ingredient found in lotions and protective creams. What many do not realize is that lanolin comes from sheep's wool. It is the natural wax that helps protect wool from moisture and harsh weather. For generations, farmers valued it because it helped protect exposed metal surfaces. Long before modern specialty coatings became common, rural families used lanolin on tools, hinges, machinery, and equipment that spent their lives outdoors. What stopped me cold was discovering that engineers and researchers have studied lanolin as a protective coating for steel because of its ability to resist moisture and corrosion. When I asked Walter why he trusted it, he did not give me a complicated answer. He simply smiled and said, Metal lasts longer when it stops rubbing itself to death. The science behind that statement is surprisingly simple. Engine parts may appear smooth, but under magnification they resemble mountain ranges filled with tiny peaks and valleys. Every moving surface creates friction. Think of it like dragging rough sandpaper across rough sandpaper. Over time, wear becomes unavoidable. The old farmers believed that protecting metal early mattered more than trying to repair damage later. Now here is where most people stop, because the deeper I dug into old records, the more I realized this story was never really about one product. It was about a maintenance philosophy that nearly disappeared. As I continued researching old maintenance records, I kept asking the same question. If so many farming families trusted this method for decades, why does almost nobody talk about it today? The answer is not a secret meeting in a boardroom, it is economics. Modern transportation depends on a cycle of replacement. Vehicles wear out, parts get replaced, new products are introduced, consumers buy solutions to problems that appear over time. Entire industries are built around that reality. The repair industry earns money repairing wear. The aftermarket industry earns money selling treatments for wear. Manufacturers earn money when consumers eventually replace vehicles affected by wear. None of that means anyone is acting maliciously. It simply means their incentives are different. It is not a conspiracy. It is worse than that. A conspiracy you can fight. A system you cannot see is harder to fight because it simply feels normal. The old farmers I met were not trying to challenge that system. Most never thought about it at all. They cared about something much simpler, keeping equipment running. When a truck hauled feed every morning and a tractor worked every planting season, longevity was not a hobby, it was a necessity. And that practical mindset is what led them to maintenance habits most people never hear about anymore. But understanding the idea is one thing, actually applying it is something else entirely. So let me show you exactly how these families used it. If you want to try the same approach used by many rural families, the process is surprisingly simple. Start by locating agricultural grade lanolin from a farm supply store, wool processor, or livestock supplier. Avoid heavily refined cosmetic versions intended for skincare products. For a standard 5-quart engine oil system, measure approximately 1 tablespoon of lanolin. Place it in a small glass container and set the container in hot water for 10 to 15 minutes until the lanolin softens into a pourable liquid. Complete your oil change normally. After adding fresh engine oil, pour the warmed lanolin into the oil fill opening and replace the cap. Start the engine and allow it to idle for 5 to 10 minutes so the mixture can circulate throughout the lubrication system. That is the entire process. No special tools, no expensive equipment, no additional maintenance schedule. The farmers who followed this practice simply repeated it during future oil changes. You can do this weekend. And here is what you may notice over time. During the first week, most people notice nothing dramatic at all. By the second week, some owners report smoother engine operation during normal driving. By the third week, attention usually shifts away from the engine because there are no immediate changes demanding concern. By the fourth week, the real benefit remains the same as it always was for the farmers who used it. Long-term protection rather than short-term excitement. But before you decide whether this old method deserves your attention, there is one final piece of evidence I need to show you. And it was waiting inside an archive box that had not been opened in decades. Several months after meeting Walter, I found myself sitting in the basement archives of a university agricultural library in Kentucky. Shelf after shelf held county extension reports, maintenance guides, farming circulars, and rural household publications that had not been touched in years. One collection contained agricultural records from the 1930s and 1940s. Most of the documents focused on machinery maintenance, equipment preservation, and reducing operating costs during difficult economic times. As I worked through the boxes, one theme appeared again and again: protect equipment early, preserve it constantly, avoid unnecessary wear whenever possible. That was the moment something clicked. The old farming families were not searching for miracle products. They were not trying to squeeze impossible mileage from worn-out engines. They simply treated machinery differently. To them, a truck, tractor, or generator was expected to last for decades. Equipment was repaired, maintained, protected, and passed from one generation to the next. The records were not teaching shortcuts, they were teaching preservation. Somewhere along the way, that mindset faded. Today, many people assume replacement is normal. Those old records assumed longevity was normal. And that difference may explain more than any single product ever could. But before you decide what to believe, there are three questions I know many people are already asking. The first objection is simple. This sounds too simple. I understand that reaction. Most people have been taught that complicated problems require expensive solutions. But many of the maintenance practices used by earlier generations were remarkably simple. Regular oil changes are simple. Keeping water out of fuel systems is simple. Checking tire pressure is simple. Simplicity alone does not determine whether something has value. The second objection is, my vehicle is different. That is a fair concern. Every engine design has unique requirements. A diesel tractor, a gasoline pickup truck, and a standby generator are not identical machines. That is why maintenance decisions should always be made carefully and based on the needs of specific equipment. The broader lesson here is not tied to one model. It is the idea of protecting machinery before problems appear rather than reacting after damage has already occurred. The third objection is, my mechanic says this will not work, and that deserves respect. A good mechanic sees the results of failures every day. Their job is diagnosing problems and repairing damage after it happens. Farmers historically approached machinery from a different angle. Their goal was preventing breakdowns in the first place because downtime could affect an entire season's work. Those are different priorities, not necessarily opposing ones. And if you are still unsure, start with the larger lesson rather than the product itself. Because the final thing this story reveals has very little to do with engines and everything to do with what previous generations understood about ownership. This video was never really about a fluid, it was about a way of thinking. For generations, rural families treated their equipment as something to preserve, not replace. They understood that longevity rarely comes from a miracle product, it comes from small habits repeated over many years. That knowledge was not lost in a single day. It faded one generation at a time. If you still believe older machines deserve a second life, tell me the make, model, and mileage of the vehicle you drive today. I read every comment, and if you enjoy uncovering forgotten American knowledge that helped families save money and stay self-reliant, subscribe and join us for the next investigation. Because the next archive I found reveals a Depression-era method farmers used to stop rust on tools, gates, and equipment using materials most people already have at home. Until then, keep learning from the old records. They still have more to say.